Will she share her screen? This is the
Yes.
to
Okay,
go
we
around this.
are officially recording. Everyone say hi to Trish. She's on vacation. Hi, Trish.
Everyone will be viewing this later.
I see Joe Wojtovich has joined. Hi, Joe.
Where's he at? There he is. Oh,
Oh, hey, what's up?
there we go.
Yeah, I haven't used Discord in like a long time. Cool.
You're at Cheyenne's place, Joe. The plans.
Yeah, I left my apartment. Couldn't do it anymore.
Okay, are we good to go? Can I try the share?
You do come out a little bit. I wonder where your mic is. Is it on your headset?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
It's one of these guys. It's
Try and do a little like just to see if that's it. I wonder. You know what I mean? Like just.
Yeah. So it was in front of my face just a minute ago. Was that better?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I think it was like in your hair, and that's when I said I can hear you. Yeah, yeah.
Is it like?
Yeah, no, I know, not even that.
Okay.
It just went away. I think, but I think,
Gotcha.
yeah, if you keep it close like that, it's all good. Yeah.
Okay. I thought about using my boyfriend's gaming headset, but it's really large on my head.
Yeah, I know how that is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the.
I need to get a small head friendly one. But no, that's okay. I'll just let me know if I cut out or.
Sure. So far, it's good. But yeah, for everyone that joined us, so today we're doing React, and then what we do consistently throughout the month is we have two weekly events. So we do the or Julia hosts the study session, which is I think 30 minutes every Tuesday, right during the lunch hour, like the 12:30 EST.
Yep, 12:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, yeah, and I do the JavaScript support hour, which is 1 hour every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. EST as well, and the study session and the JavaScript support, those are just kind of like bring what you can, and well, the JavaScript support one's more like collaborative kind of thing where if you're just trying to deal with a project or a problem and you're like, I kind of want to see what other people think about this, you can come there, and the study session is kind of like an accountability thing, right? Where you just bring your material, and just be with like-minded people.
Check in with everybody.
Right.
Ask them how far they've gotten since last week. It's very casual.
Exactly. Yeah. Very casual. Yeah. So the same for the JavaScript, and then when no one brings problems for the JavaScript support hour, I go over a kata which I published the week before. So the kata this week, it's
for tomorrow's session.
Sorry, for tomorrow's session.
For
Yeah.
tomorrow's session.
Yeah. It's all on the community page, and you can always find out what we're doing on the community page, regardless of what's happening in the Discord server. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have yeah, and yeah, just wanted to talk about that real quick.
And to introduce Nicole on her behalf, but she can introduce herself later. Nicole works at Autobooks with me and Josh, who a lot of you may have met. She is a software engineer. She attended Grand Circus Boot Camp here in Detroit, where she was also a TA. Thank you, Julia. Yep, that was a great intro. I am technically a junior software engineer. I've been at Autobooks for about 1.5 years now. I started as a QA and I worked my way into being a developer. So constantly learning. I still consider myself new to React. So there's always a lot to learn. It's a huge library. So any comments, questions, feel free to throw them in the channel. And I'll try to keep an eye on it. But yeah, so I'm gonna be talking about React. We use it at my job. A lot of other companies use React to build front-end web applications. And I've had a lot of fun with it. The first thing I learned was Angular. They're quite different in a lot of ways. And I'm gonna try to share my screen now. Go ahead, any music?
Yeah, one sec. Okay, we're good. Yeah, that's probably going to happen once in a while. We're trying to figure out a way to default mute everyone, but yeah. Does just in case, Julia, do you have that right to mute people?
Yes, I think I do. I will try and keep an eye on
Yeah, just
that
in case. Yeah,
as
it,
well.
not the red one. The red one's mute server wide, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Uh,
So if you guys aren't familiar to Discord, if you're in the channel right now, in the top left, there should be an option called Watch Stream. You guys click on that, you should be able to see Nicole's screen, but it will require you guys to like do some stuff to watch it. So click Watch Stream in the upper left, and if you're in this general channel right now, you should be able to see your screen. Okay, so they have to opt in to watching me. We do, yeah. Okay, so I can keep screen though, so hopefully everybody else has clicked watch stream. All right. Okay, I'll be switching back and forth between these slides. I've posted the link to them in the React channel. You can follow along or just watch what I'm doing here. Let's see. Okay, so good. All right, so I'm going to use Code Sandbox.io. It's like it's a website that kind of has everything in it for you. It builds a React project for you in the browser and has a little like local server that'll show you what your web page will look like. It's easy for like presentation purposes, and it's also really good just to like play around. But if you want to build React locally, many of you probably already have some of these things installed. You'll need Node, and it's linked in there. If you want to download that now, you can. It might take a little bit of time. So just using that, actually, you know what? I'm going to get the link to it. Yeah.
is that just me, or is the slides blinking in and out?
Is it? Yeah, I kind of see like a white screen, but sometimes I see the slides. Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. All right, we'll get through this.
yeah, like
there we go.
yeah, that's more consistent. Maybe just for the recording's sake, we'll do that. Sorry. Yeah.
Just do the non-presentation mode.
Yeah,
That's
just
fine.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's totally fine because I have multiple screens and it actually like takes over two of my screens when I go through.
Oh.
So I'm gonna post the sandbox. If you open it up, it'll take you to like, I think you have to create a login, create a sandbox, and you just pick React, and it'll generate a little thing like this. You'll get a little mini project in here. Go back to these slides. Another thing I really like to use is the Chrome React DevTools. This will allow you to see kind of like how you can see the elements in the DevTools. It'll allow you to see the components from your React app, and it'll just make things like easier for debugging, and you'll be able to click on those components and actually see like what data is being held in those components. You also need some kind of IDE. I like Visual Studio Code. It's the only one I use to develop with React. There's others out there like Atom, Sublime. I'm not familiar with those, but whatever your preference is, really. So I'll just quickly show what it will look like locally to build. Once you have Node installed, you are going to I'm not sure, Michael, maybe you can chime in. I'm not able to see the screen you're sharing right now.
Yeah, I was about to
really?
say. I think there. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you sharing a screen or a window? Because there's two different settings.
Yep. I shared my window, but I think when I hit escape, it did something strange.
Okay, maybe
So-
restart real quick.
Let's try again. Oh, it's so weird. No, it is just white screen, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's your Visual Studio Code? Should we see your? Yeah, I see like
You should see the slides.
right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now
So
nothing.
it's just a okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if I do this, can you see the slides now?
Yeah. And then
And then it goes blank.
yeah.
It's weird. Okay, that's all right. Let me put, let's see. Dreams still running. Okay. Stop streaming. See that. Now
Okay.
you can see my VS Code, right?
Yeah, I guess whatever you did there, I guess just between the PowerPoint or what maybe try and bring in the PowerPoint now just to
You know what I think it's doing? I think it's sharing my window, not my screen.
yeah. So you may have
Okay.
okay.
Let me try one more time.
Sure.
Oh, I see what happened. Yep. Okay.
Perfect. We see both now. Cool.
Now? Okay. That's lovely.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So what this will look like in your terminal. Cool. I have my React folder, right? I want to install my React, build my first React app. We're going to use this command, npx create React app, and then we're going to follow that with the name of the project, which can be whatever you like. And I'm just going to call this. I'm not going to do all of this one, but just to show you what it looks like. Builds everything for you. It builds a template of just like boilerplate things. And it's going to install your node modules. It's going to actually initialize a Git repository for you. It's not going to create one on your GitHub side. You'll still have to go in and create that. But as far as that Git init step, it'll do that automatically for you. It creates a Git ignore file, which is good because your node modules are pretty large. Possibly in the gigs, it's really large. If you go to delete it, it'll take a second. So it's still building. It depends what computer you have. When I was in boot camp, some people's builds took like 15 minutes to do.
Oh my god.
So again, if it's like slowing you up right now, just use the code sandbox. Like I was saying about the git ignore, if you're not familiar with the git ignore file, you can put whatever you want, whatever you do not want to be uploaded to your GitHub. And node modules should be one of those, maybe like secret keys, environment variables, things that you don't, either are too large that people don't need to upload, because when someone pulls down your project, they can just do an npm install, and that will install those node modules for you. And great, now our project is built. So in my no, that's not what it is. Oh, there. Yeah, wait, let's make sure it's working. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, now we've CD'd into that. Okay. So now open terminal. This is my project, like I said, node modules, you've got your source folder. This is the boilerplate things that get built for you. Really, it's just a place to start. You delete most of the code. It's just you start it up and make sure that it's working. Here's your git ignore file. It's got all you have to do to make sure that these things don't get added to GitHub is just literally put the name of the file or the file path. This one actually uses Yarn, and Yarn is another package manager. So if you wanted to like add, how long is the install node? Not very long. It really depends on your computer. Probably 5 minutes or so.
And you
It's
can
a
just
couple.
you can type node into Google and go to their website and install it right from their website. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yep, so the link to the Node website is in the slides. But yeah, if you go to like Node.js, Google that, it'll take you to the website. And it'll give you the directions for Mac or Windows or whatever. Cool. So this one, like I was saying, this one uses Yarn. It's just another package manager. I actually wasn't sure of the differences myself, so I looked it up. Yarn stands for yet another resource negotiator, which I thought was kind of funny. But it'll give you this Yarn lock file, slight differences. I link that in the end if you want to get into the nitty gritty of what the differences are. Really, the differences here for this are, one would be npm start to build your project. The other one is Yarn start. And so if you go to the reading, it'll tell you exactly what to do.
Yarn is really just a wrapper around Node built by Facebook.
Right, thanks. So this is what will show up on your local server when you do Yarn start. It's just this little boilerplate, like I was saying. So, great. So just in general, what is React? React is a front-end JavaScript open source library created by Facebook. It operates more for focuses on single page applications, so you don't have to, so functionality is performed like without leaving the page or having to refresh. It's generally a smoother user experience compared to like multi-page applications, which might be more like an e-commerce site or something with a lot more data and traffic going through it. It uses JSX, which is essentially like mashing HTML and JavaScript together. And so you can do that all in one file, building out your functionality and putting in your like nodes for the DOM and your layout and everything. So other frameworks you may have some experience with, Angular, Vue, Laravel, things like that. So with React, why we use it, one of the reasons why at least, is because it makes it easier for you to like compartmentalize your code and your functionality and your styles. So you can kind of just like take a component and plop it in somewhere else and it will carry with it all of those things that you built inside of it. So it's based off this idea of like component-based architecture. How reusable a component is basically like how generic you build it, whether you're going to pass more dynamic information into it. And the goal is to kind of make it as dynamic as possible so you can reuse those components. And we can pass, we'll talk about how to pass data in those components in just a little bit. So just like a kind of thinking about component-based architecture and how pages would be organized. I just took a screenshot of like an Instagram page. Instagram is built in React. So let's say, for example, like this could be one component. It might take in this data about one user, how many posts they have, followers, and who they're following. I think I can actually, let me pull this up in page up here. Here's my React Dev Tools as I was talking about. So once you open up the inspector, it's going to be these ones with the little symbol next to them. I always, go to the components, and you'll be able to see like the component tree of how that, where those things are being laid out. And so like this one, you click this little guy here, you can inspect it. So here's my component for that, right? We can see this data here, followed by, follows, media, which is going to be a post. There's a lot of other data coming into this component, some other props that are coming in, some hooks that are being used. There's a ton of hooks. I'm just going to touch on a view state today, but I would definitely recommend looking through the React documentation. So thinking about component-based architecture is going to be really helpful, like if you're going to design layouts or just like how you're going to use those components later. It's like good for scalability. Okay. So let me, we can use this example, or I might just go, let me just go into the sandbox itself. So one difference with the newer versions of React are functional components compared to class components. If you work with a company that uses React, you'll probably run into class components. Some companies might still use them completely. I don't know if everyone's deciding to phase them out, but I was lucky enough to pretty much just jump in and use hooks, or just use functional components, which is really nice. I'm going to throw a link to that difference between, here we go. Like do some reading on that. It has a couple other good articles about that. Just Node and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, class components. Okay. So this would be an example of a class component. We have class welcome extends React.component. That's going to be an example of a class component. There's some other stuff that you'll see. You'll see like this.props. You'll see this render. That's going to be different with your functional components. So the functional components is going to be like a declare function. So instead of having a class, we're just like exporting this function. This is what gets loaded up as the boilerplate for when you build your React app. As soon as you, this is going to be one of the files that you have like automatically, right? So your app.js. Everything's going to kind of run through that app.js. Any other component that you make, you're going to import it here and like stick it in this return. So a couple things that these need to have. We need to export our function. We'll need to have our return statement, and we'll have to declare our function. And we'll probably need to be importing some stuff. So if I make, let me make like a counter. Okay, so I want to build a little counter app. I'm going to start with the name of my component, and I'm going to add my return statement. Okay, so if I want to, let's just start with like a basic app. It's going to have a couple things. It's going to have a couple buttons, count up, count down, and then like display number. We'll just start with that. So we've got, as you saw in our app, we've got HTML. We have divs, we have H1s. One of the nuances of React is we're going to use class name, not class. Slight differences with some of the naming conventions. So a lot of that will look familiar if you've already seen HTML or work with HTML. And with the styles, there's a lot of ways you can use your CSS or import your styles. I'm just going to do it pretty basic through here. There's like Material UI. You can install the package. There's like tons of stuff that give you a lot of like nice things to use, like build up components that you can just throw in from, like, we use Material UI at Autobooks. That gives you like pre-styled components basically. So let's add some HTML first. Okay. A button. Uh-oh, I'm getting an error. So one of the errors, one of the things with React, when it's rendering these elements, and actually React gives pretty nice error messages, JSX expressions must have one parent. So all that means is you just can't have like two tags hanging out there like side by side. You have to have one main component, or one main tag here. So we could use a div. One of the things that is often used are React fragments. So we can, before I start that, one of the things, it seems kind of strange, one of the things that we have to do is import React from React. React is a library, everything needs to be imported. I think the main reason for that is just like performance. You don't need everything available to you all the time. So you import like as you need things. So we'll start with this, and then we'll parse it down to what I'm getting at here. So we're importing React. So what I could do is say React dot fragment. And a fragment in React is essentially an element that's not going to like add a node to the DOM. It's really just there to act as parent container without actually showing up as a parent container. So we can do this. We can say React.fragment. There's React. Everything's going to be coming from React though. We're going to do React.useState, React.useMemo, React.this, React.that. So we can destructure these things. And instead of importing React as a whole, we can import things from React that we need. So we can say, hey, now I can delete it. Right? We can go even leaner. One of the nice things you can do, really shorthand things you can do, is just yeet this guy all together. This is a shorthand of doing a React fragment, which is really nice. Again, a fragment is really just going to act as the parent container for your render, but it's not adding another node to the DOM. We don't need this. I'm just going to leave that there. So. Okay, but now it's in there. We don't see it. That's because, like I said, everything has to go through this app.js. And to do that, we need to import yeah, you have no idea how many times I use the word yeet at work. I put that in documentation too, Julia, if you've ever seen it.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah.
I'll have to like search for it in conflicts.
It's yeah, because I've actually been refactoring class components to functional components to get rid of some of like legacy code, and I made this giant table. So many of the things you come across, you're like, oh, cool, we can go this together. It's actually being used. So yes, I have lots of fun needing things. Counter. So we're just going to import the name of the component from its file head. And there we go. So the way that component is going to show up in the render, or in the way you're going to want to, like, syntax for it, to stick it in there, it's going to actually kind of look like an HTML tag. And I'll keep it inside this div. So all I'm going to do is go, oops, I'm going to keep it down here. All right, it has a self-closing tag because there's no children inside of it. For example, a div does have children, so it needs to have an opening and a closing tag, but it's self-closing. All right, so now we got some stuff. I can actually delete this. So now we have our counter. We've got some buttons. It's not really doing more stuff. So what I would like to talk about now is state. Here's another example. We'll do an example. I think I would like to have like a little example for you guys to work on. And we'll do it for you. So state is very, very important in the rendering of a component. UI is really a function of state. We're not actually manually adding and removing DOM elements. We're modifying the data in state, and it will like affect how the component is rendering that information. It's important to note that state should not be modified directly. It is immutable, meaning we don't want to change that. It's not, well, it is, but you don't want to change that. So the way that state is going to be set up is going to be, you have a value for the state, and then you have like a function that modifies that state. So exactly what this is going to look like. Again, we're importing this useState hook from React. I'm just going to replace this with useState. And these, when you hear about hooks, the use whatever are going to be those hooks. useState, use smell, use ref, use context. This is a really good page in the React docs to kind of get a the React docs as they are now talk a lot about class components, and you'll see this component, the mount component will unmount. There's a new version of React documents. It's the beta version. It's not like all, it's not comprehensive yet, but it's so much better and so much cooler and actually interactive. And I've linked that as well in the like resources slide at the end of the because they have like little IDEs that they embedded in the website players. So you will come across this if you look like for solving problems. Overflow, a lot of people will. Julia, what are the little boop or like the boop? Are those people like turning their things on and off, or like it's not messages?
It can be messages in the like React text channel, but I think it's also people joining and leaving the live stream.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'll try and figure out how to, if that's a setting I can turn off the next time, because it is weird.
I just keep checking to make sure like it's no messages.
Oh wait, but I don't know. Are there any new messages?
I've got it up on my screen. Nothing crazy yet.
My cooking funny. Some jokes.
Okay. Cool. Oh, sorry. I probably should do a little loops and loops. This is the beta. It's really nice. I like it. It's kind of like Code Sandbox. Okie dokie. So let's do some state. Let's make some state here. We're gonna make these variables as well. But we have our count and our set. And then we're gonna reference use state and call it as like a function. So we have, it's saying that state is undefined. We would like to initialize this value to something. So all you gotta do, like pop that in there, right? I'm initializing it to 0. Now if I were to console log you see 0. Oh, that's my original error. Yeah, doesn't look like not. Okay, so we have this 0 here. Now our count is 0, but it's not being displayed in the DOM. So how should we do that? Well, all we have to do to tell React that we're like about to display, or that we would like to work with JavaScript instead of like HTML is by adding some curly brackets. So let's do like a little bit here. And we'll put in count. And we have a little 0. But it doesn't do anything. So now we have to get, now we have to do something with this, right? Set count is going to update this value to something. So I want my count, oops, you know what? I should switch this. Got it down and count it. Okay. So in HTML, we have these on-click methods, on-click like attributes and properties, right? So let's add an on-click here. In our on-click, I'm wanting these countdowns to just decrement or increment by 1. So we can pass in the set count updater function. And to do that, we will add the open curly open parentheses, open close parentheses, callback, and then we're going to say set count. And what are we going to do with the set count? We want it to go up by 1. Instead of modifying count and saying like count equals this, right? We want to use set count and say count minus 1. So it's working remote. I never have to talk to anybody. The voice is going away. So now, if I click count down, it does the thing. It's decrementing down. Okay, so that's great. Now we want it to count up. Any guesses how to do it? Want to fix that? Count plus 1. All right. Now it goes back up. Awesome. One nuance about passing in functions to properties is it depends. Are you updating data or are you just passing the function? And so by that I mean, let's say I want multiple things to happen on click. So I might do, let's say I want to have like, I don't know, handle count down. And I want like multiple things to happen. I don't have like multiple things I can do, so I'm just gonna kind of like take something. If I want, I can do this. Right? I can have it do set count and then something else, like whatever. If there's another function I wanted it to do, update something else. I'm just going to put my console up here. So now I have this handle countdown function. I agree, Michael. It hot reloads way too fast. I'm like, I'm not done typing yet. So what you can do. So what you can do if you are not actually changing any data with the parameters, like if you're not passing any arguments in, you can just pass the function itself with no callback, no parentheses, and it knows what to do, which is really nice. It makes your code a lot cleaner. So sometimes you might even see like just, I think maybe it's preference to a certain extent. If you only have one thing to do, do you want it, is it cleaner to have it look like this down here, or is it cleaner to have like, this and there? For something like this, up to you. But if you have like multiple things that you want to do, yeah, like for sure, have like a separate function that handles multiple things, and then you just pass it in, which is pretty nice. So at a basic level, that is state. I would like to do another example of state with slightly more complicated setup. So, yeah. Well, let me first actually talk about. No, I take that back. Let's make a new component. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I wanted to do this too. You can actually live share from here. So you can't edit the document, but if you wanted to, you can follow along in your browser. And see. So what we could do, like, I haven't actually tried this before. But if you wanted to, you can try to pop in here, and if you want to follow along, if you're just fine watching the screen, it's doing weird stuff with the screen share. Yes, documents are really user friendly, actually. The beta, I really like the beta documents better. Because look at, they even say this is intermediate, like it's super nice. They start from like very, very beginning. How to add React to an HTML page, how to start a standalone React project, how to start a new project. This is not an exhaustive thing yet because it's just a beta, but they really like lay it out for you, which I find it to be very, very easy to read, especially because they have these little things in here. Like I can change it live, and it's doing like, basically this is like a little code sandbox inside of the React. So super nice. I hope, and they're phasing out the class component, so I think this is only in focus on. Because it talks about, like, it all talks about class components. They do have a section. I can't remember what hooks came out, like 2018, something. They're not like brand new, but there's still a lot of hooks. I think I'm lucky, like maybe smaller companies have the ability to kind of like phase that stuff out a little quicker. But you will definitely like looking up on Stack Overflow, any kind of stuff online, you'll see people recommend class. And to a newbie, it looks quite different. You're like, what the heck is this, that, blah, blah, blah. If you're familiar with some other object-oriented program languages, maybe more familiar with class or more used to like JavaScript or the scripting languages, which, I mean, JavaScript has class. It's good. So let's see. Oh, I do have a viewer. Okay. New files here. So I'm gonna make a new file. I'm gonna call it this. And so first, just to start off, just to review, we want to declare our function. We want to have our return statement in there. And we want to import anything that we need. And then, yes. Oh, thank you for pointing that out, Julia. Naming conventions, yes. Capitalize your components. That's going to be how you differentiate. I think even in like if you're using like a text editor in an IDE, it will like color code it differently based on like how you name it. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Naming conventions are capital, even though we don't do that with like just general functions, just like you would a class, right? You would capitalize the name. So what we want to do with this greeting, we'll get it started. And if anybody is like following along, you're welcome to try. If that's something people want to do, you can like chill for like a few minutes while people kind of work through it. But we'll get started. And I'm gonna make this an arrow function just to show the difference. So I'm gonna make a greeting. And this was actually an interview question I had, was what's the difference between a declared function and an arrow function? I did not get it right. Because there's like stylistic differences, but then there's like the real reason why it matters. And I think I might have even linked that too, because it was like not a question. I like arrow functions more. They tend to look a little cleaner. You can do them inline if you want. Like if I just have like one thing here, I wouldn't have to have the curly brackets. You generally don't do that with arrow, with like large components. You'll have to do like lines of code. But if you're just doing like an arrow function, like a plain arrow function, then you can do like one line. If there's no parameters, you can do like underscore. If there's only one parameter, you don't have to turn parentheses. It's something that came out with ES6. So one thing to note about an arrow function declaration is I cannot put export default in front. It's syntactically incorrect. So we'll do that. That's the main stylistic difference. We have our return statement. Oops. I think developers would be better typers. Okay, so with this greeting component, what I'd like to do is, this is going to be more in depth. What we'll do is, I'm trying to think about time. This might be something you can like build on yourself. Maybe I'll walk through like the basics of it and you can kind of play around with it. What I'd like to do with this greeting component is like have an input, have the user type their name, hit submit, and then their name will pop up and say like, hello, so-and-so. So with that, sorry, my screen is bleeping out. Okay. So let's start with form. Yeah. We don't need a React fragment because this is going to be our parent component here. Parent tag tag. Okay, so we have a form. Let's do a label for it. Another little nuance, instead of instead of for attribute for label, it's HTML4. So we'll call that name. And then we have our input. We'll do ID, name, and then name. Name is how we're going to be able to access it from the event. And then one other thing we're going to have is our button to submit. So let's add our button and have a submit. Okay. So once again, we've got our component. Don't forget to add it to app.js. React is pretty good about telling you, like, hey, Debbie, you forgot to import or whatever. Because I always fix import stuff. That was something I feel like I ran into. You should be able to use name for as an HTML attribute. You mean this guy?
My bad, I just saw that. I saw HTML4 equals name, so my bad. I just saw the right attribute. Yep. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, some of these is slightly different. But again, it's pretty good at like telling you the errors are pretty straightforward. No, it won't work. It might, depending on like, some of that might be down to like what plugins you have for your IDE. So like a bracket, I've been on hunts for missing brackets for a large percentage of my job. Because you want to move some code around, right? And you copy and paste, and then lo and behold, you got a floating bracket somewhere. And it's not always the best at telling you like where that bracket is messed up. There are some really good plugins that help you match up brackets. Let me find it. Extensions like that are really helpful. There's one that makes like lines. So prettier is the code formatter. Oh, you know, I don't have it on this. This is my work computer. Anyone can remember the name of the plugin that draws the lines between an opening bracket and a closing bracket. It's like, so it's like you have the indentations, right? But this is actually will make like little faint lines, almost like margins. That really help. I would look for tools like that when it comes to things like matching up brackets. There's like a rainbow one where it actually like colorizes it. That's really helpful. But yeah, unfortunately,
It's called bracket pair colorizer.
There we go, bracket pair colorizer. Thank you. Yes, those are very helpful. I'm not sure actually as far as like how strict Angular is versus React. I think React is generally more user-friendly in that way. Angular would just kind of bomb. I don't remember. I haven't used it in a little while. So, all right, we have our form. We have our little submit button. We need to import it. Perfect, thank you. Import. Okay, so now we have our name, our input and our button, just for the sake of showing like a little bit of style. Oh, hey. Okay, well, I created this class. I'm going to add this style, add this class to my form. Now, in order for that class to be referenced, I have to import styles. Okay, so now they're not like matched together. All right, so with this one, we're gonna create like a submit function. So what we can do is add that to the form, add our on submit. So it doesn't keep yelling at me, I'm gonna create the handle submit. Let's make our handle submit. We wanted to do a few things. One thing that happens, the default functionality of a form when you submit is to refresh the page, see how it refreshes there. Because it's a single page application, it's gonna like reload and we're gonna lose what we put. So let's do something that's going to prevent it from reloading. And we're going to have to pass in the event as an argument here. And the event is going to be like a whole long list of things. Let's see what the event looks like. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. It's strike again. Unexpected check-in.
It's like you still gotta wire that up to Nicole.
Right. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, oh yeah, I didn't pass the handle submit. So when we pass this handle submit through, it's going to submit the form. We'll see this event. And because, like I showed you before, if we are not changing anything with those parameters, the event is like part of the form. It's going to pass that through. Submit. So on submit, we'll see. Oh, there's something else I have to do. Prevent the page from reloading. Prevent default. I think it is. Yeah. So that's going to prevent the page from reloading.
Put equal submit on your button and don't do prevent default.
Sorry, what did you say?
Can you put type equals submit as an attribute on your button? The form should be able to take care of it. And then I don't think you need prevent default anymore.
See. Oh, still reloading.
I was wrong.
Trial and error. Let's see. I think, I think the behavior of the form is to automatically reload. I think if we didn't have this form, it wouldn't do that. If I remember correct. But we'll have this whole long list of stuff that we get back. And and it's got type submit, it's got the target, which is what we're gonna wanna get, and we're gonna be able to pull in the value that comes from this submit. So, seen this earlier, I was trying to find it, and I feel like that should locate my name. When I did, yeah. So to access, we're going to want to go into the event and get the target, and we're going to use this name property to get the value. So it's a little bit of a long thing. We do event. Right, I'll wait to pare this down. Slowly get to this. So event.target, that's the form. Now I'm going to say .name, which is the input, okay? And now we want the value. Okay, so, so what do we want to do with this name submit? We got to set it something, right? We're gonna have our state. Name. We can set it to empty string. Oh, yeah, it doesn't understand what's going on here because I have to import. Structure, this guy. And we'll import. So now what we can do, take this event.target.name.value and have our set name. This guy. Okay, so now I never added the place with the name pop-up. We'll see that. So yeah, the name of the naming convention for the component would be just the name of that component. If there's other stuff in that file, you might have to do some destructuring to pull that out. Like say you're just importing a function from like a util file, you could destructure that and pull that straight out. Or you could import the file itself and have like a, similar to how I was doing with the React dot something, you could like reference the file, it's like dot whatever that thing. So so now we've got our name being set. Now let's have some place to play. So actually now I am gonna. Very old. I'm gonna have a div, and I'm just gonna say like name. Yeah. Oops, okay. So, oh, you know what? Yeah.
Why don't you remove the div if there's no name? We can show conditional rendering.
Yep, that is something I'm getting to.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I know. I want it. There's like so many things to cover about React, and I really want to like. State was like something that was like really hard for me to grasp. But I will like. I'm gonna post this code to GitHub, and because I'm gonna marry the greeting and the counter, and we'll kind of see like we'll lift some state, we'll pass the props, and we can initially render that based on what we're getting from count. So let's do our enter name. We'll have that as our label, and this is not a very well wireframed component. But so once this updates, but yeah, no, that is a good point. You generally don't want to say like hello, no one, if there's nothing there. So let's submit. Let's see what happens. Yay! Hello, me. But yeah, like that's a good, like that's like a good UX point, right? If there's nothing to render for this value, we shouldn't just have like a, maybe it wouldn't be good UX to say just like hello, with like a space and an exclamation point. We could show that real quick. So, I mean, with like, if you've practiced JavaScript, you've done like conditions, if, else, loops, things like that. So yeah, if we don't have a name, like let's say it's an empty string, let's like just not show it. So again, we're going to want to have our curly brackets to tell it we're about to have some JavaScript going in. So name, we'll say like not equal empty string. And you remember, if I were to do like not name, is empty string considered like a not, like a null value, or like a nothing value for a string?
You're thinking of truthiness?
Yeah.
I think you can probably just do like exclamation point, name, and div.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Because an empty string is not truthy in JavaScript. So
right. Okay.
yeah.
So yes, this would be like just the long version to show you what it's looking for, right? As long as name is not an empty string, it will render this whole thing. So if we refresh, we shouldn't see hello at all, okay? And then if we enter something, now it shows everything, right? So that would be an example of conditional rendering. I do have a slide on it in case I don't get to it. But I have one slide on it, just touches on it. But if nothing else, there's one. So let me go back to, we have our counter, we have our greeting. So let's say, for example, rendering our greeting app depended on the number for whatever reason. Our counter is only holding state in the component itself. So like app doesn't have access to the count value. So what we could do instead of having count state here, we can have it, we can lift it into our app.js and we can lift it into our app.js and use that, like if we wanted to use it as a condition of rendering our greeting component for whatever reason. So what I can do, I'm just going to comment this out. I don't want to like delete anything. For a second. Get very tired writing import statements. So now we can lift state up to the app, but now counter still has to access that value. So that's where props come in. So we can pass count and set count as props. Props is short for properties, and they're just going to be taken in as like, here they're going to look like attributes on an HTML element. Here they're going to look like parameters or arguments for a function. So we would say count and set count. Okay, I'm going to just take that out so it's still happy with us. Yep. we have count, set count, that's being passed in, everything still works. Well, we don't have any errors, but we need to pass these in to count because yeah, see look, as soon as I hit the button, it's like exploded. Because it's like trying to access these things that aren't being passed in. It's expecting these arguments, or parameters, but it's not getting them from the count or from the app.js. So all we do is count equals count, and I've named them the same thing. Set count, set count. What did I do here? Oops. Equals. Okay. So now we're still calling useState. We're still keeping track of that. We still have one source of truth for that, and we're just passing that property down. And everything still works. So this is an example of props. This is how you're going to make your components really dynamic. A lot of times you'll have state in like the parent component, and it's going to be used as like a conditional rendering for like a lot of other components, or divs or elements or whatever, or other functions. So you have to pass that in. You want to be careful of like what's called prop drilling, where you just keep passing in, passing in, passing in. And that's something where you could implement another hook to kind of avoid that. But I won't get into that because I wouldn't be able to explain it very well. So now that we have count and set count being passed in, if we wanted to use, and we would only do this if we needed count and set count in this component, it would be unnecessary if we weren't going to use this for anything else than to pass them as properties. It would not be serving a purpose in this component. But let's say we wanted to say like when count is greater than 10 or something. Okay, we do the double and if it's true, do this thing. So now it's not showing the greeting. We count up. Boop, boop, boop. Still not because it didn't say equal to. So as soon as it hits 11, blam, there it is. The whole point of having these components is to use them multiple times, right? So let's say we have an array of names, and I want to render, we're going to take a form, but just for the sake of illustration. Yeah, let's do some names. Poncho. And
Making an appearance. For those of you who don't know, which is the vast majority of you, Poncho's my dog.
and Blaney, and I don't know how to spell Millie. Millie? Or is it I-E? Why? Neither looks right.
Millie, let's see. Millie is named after Miley Cyrus, but spelled so
So spelled the same, but
I think it's
spelled
Illey. Just so
Okay.
get that spelled.
All right, cool. So yeah, Lenny, Millie, our Josh's dogs, and Poncho's. So yeah, let's say we want to now display multiple greeting amps with this. I'm going to take this condition out. Yeah, okay. I'll have to refactor some stuff. So I'm just going to change this to be like, hello. I'm just going to come out just for the sake of showing you multiple renderings of the component. So if I just have this say hello and the name, let's say I want to render the component with like many names if I have it ready. I've got my names. Let's do, we can do names dot map. And we're going to put name. And no, I can't remember it. Yeah, okay. I messed this up earlier, so I was like, what's going on? I had a turn state. So we're going to pass in our greeting, and we actually added a name property to it. So now our name property is going to be name. Think about it. Here's my guy. And then I need to have this guy back. There we go. And then we have them all. So we could make this nicer. We could like do, put an li, make like a list around it.
Can we talk about the key attribute?
We can, yeah. So the key attribute, it is, oh, I think that my style is messed up. The key attribute is going to be important if, maybe you want to talk about this, Josh, because most of what I know about the key attribute is not to use like an index value, because if you're going to like be moving stuff around, it doesn't translate as well.
Yeah, well, if we're just statically rendering an array, it's fine to use index, but generally, what I mean by key value is whenever you're mapping across a set of data and you're rendering a component, that component needs to have an attribute called key on it, and that key needs to be different for every component that is mapped, and it's in order for React to be able to keep track of that component in the DOM. So in order to do this, we would pull index out of the map. So index map by name and index. And then we would just say greeting key equals index. This gives React a key attribute. So basically it can tell these greetings apart. Can't tell them apart from like different props being passed in.
And key is something that you don't have to like explicitly declare as a prop.
Correct. It's an attribute that React can pull in, a lot like HTML4 or class name. It's like a custom React attribute that lets React be able to hold a reference to that mapped object. Actually, the key should be on li, not greeting. You need to always key off of the parent element in the map. Yeah, I'm really glad that you did this tutorial because I would be explaining esoteric stuff like that for an hour.
Millie, it sounds like she has a lot to say about React.
Yeah. Sorry about that. She has a really scary low voice. She's like a tiny chihuahua, I promise.
Yeah, no, the key, actually, I read a really good article on keys. I actually linked his thing in the resources slide. His name is Tennessee Dodds. He does a really good React, many classes. And I think he even wrote the React testing library. He's got some really good blog posts on all things React, and he does have one really good one on keys, and he talks about why, when you should use what for the key, and why it's important to not use the index if any of these values are going to be changed. So I'll try to find that link. I'll find a link to his blog. It's a very blog. All right, so that is most. Oh, I had the window covered with questions. I'm sorry.
I just dropped the blog in the chat.
Sweet. Yeah, Epic React, lovely. Cool. So let me just check back to the slides because I abandoned those a long time ago. Prompts, rendering. Okay, yeah, we've got the ifs, we've got the ternary, kind of straightforward, like more JavaScripty stuff. Where you could go from here, there's so many places you could go. I would try to kind of go through like messing with some of the props that you can use with forms are really popular. That was like a difficulty for me when I was in boot camp, just like working with forms, getting people around. That's just from like kind of like a basic web page standpoint. But with the React stuff, just look up the hooks. And I kind of started. I think I like rated worked them for in terms of difficulty, at least for me. If you can use use state and use effect, you can pretty much make like a pretty good app. Once things get bigger, some use context to avoid prop drilling. Use graph to like hold things in state or hold things between renders. Use graph to use reducer. These are things I still struggle with. The volunteering. But yeah, these hooks are really useful. I would check out the documentation. From what I've seen, they're not big enough yet. They kind of have very introductory stuff. I just kind of like this words I use. And here is some of the links. Epic React is what I use to learn React, or while I was working. He's got like a really long 800-hour tutorial or something crazy like that. It's a little pricey. It's like $700-800, and you get a lot for it, and you get access to his GitHubs. But he also piecemeals his information as well, like workshop-y things like an intro one, there's hooks one, an advanced hooks testing one. So I think you can like purchase those individually. These are the basic React documentation. These are the yeah, it's a little pricey. Let's see how much it is. Epic React. Yeah. Oh, I'm still logged in. So, well, I'll give you a little sneak preview, right? You got the like welcome, you got the React fundamentals, you got the React hooks. Oh, you can see what the Linda did. We've got ones about pattern testing. He's got like some interviews with people, like really useful. So it's worth the money. But again, you can like, and he does a lot of free videos talking about. This is the Geek for Geeks thing. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Egghead.io is a good one too. I've not heard the other React course. There's like so many out there, and just make sure that it's one that focuses on text. Class components are. I mean, you should learn them, but and you'll definitely come into contact with them. But like, I'll say I really like ignorant hooks, and I know I can make mistakes. Struggle with getting explained to. Well, I'm not what I don't even know. I just refactored them. So yeah, if you have like any follow-up questions or if you have questions, I will upload this GitHub to my GitHub, and you can pull it down. And yeah, I'm on the server, so I'll be around for any follow-up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. Did anybody have any questions you wanted to get out before we end this event?
I have a question, but I want to let everyone else have a chance to ask. So yeah.
Yeah, don't be shy, guys. I know that everybody's been muted, but feel free to unmute and ask your question. You don't just need to put it in the chat, although you certainly can if you would like to, if you're feeling a little shy or maybe don't have a microphone hooked up. But yeah, definitely feel free to unmute and ask questions if you have any. Well, it looks like there's some people typing. You want to just ask yours?
Was that invitation from? Okay, that was Merlin saying thank you to Nicole. Good job on the slides, he says. Yeah, and yes, we'll share the video later. But yeah.
It takes
Slide
it
that
takes
I shared at the beginning. I don't know if it's pinned or not, but
Oh, I didn't pin it. You're right.
yeah, we can definitely pin the
it's like the
slides.
second, yeah, it's the second comment in the chat. It's just like a Google Drive.
Okay, I'm pinning it now.
Pinned.
Send the link to my GitHub afterwards.
Yeah, and then Ame had a good question on how does React differ from Vue?
I don't think I could answer that question very well. I've not used Vue. Do you have experience with Vue, Josh?
I have a little bit of experience with Vue. I would say that React and Vue are very similar in that they both favor like compartmentalized, dumb component architecture. A lot of times in React, when we're building components, we really want the component to be as dumb as possible, right? And that means we want the business logic to be handled elsewhere. And I know that Vue, because Vue has like, you have your own little style sheet, you have your template, and then you have your script, if I can remember. So like they can both lead to the same sort of like, I like to call it atomic development. This is another like coding philosophy when you think about like building building components from the smallest possible thing out, then scaling up complexity that way. So I liked Vue when I learned it, honestly. I know that a lot of libraries built for Vue sort of hard on the upgrade. That's one thing I know. I think that the environment and the open source environment around updating those packages requires a lot of community support, whereas React is like built and maintained by Facebook. Like Facebook has like thousands of people that they pay to maintain React. So it's like the libraries just like magically seem to be updated as soon as like React 18 comes out, you know. So I definitely wouldn't, if you like Vue, I would not discourage you from learning it at all. Specifically in Detroit, though, React is definitely the framework to learn if you're looking for a job. Pretty much every startup in Detroit is using React.
Yeah, when I was looking for jobs, most of what I saw was Angular and React. But again, I was by search. That's kind of what I was looking for. But I know plenty of people. I mean, we have developers that want to be Vue.
Actually, I learned Vue to like do a, because I interviewed at a place that Vue, and that's my own. Yeah, I'm a little biased against Angular. I just think that it's all of those ng-if attributes and everything. It's like everything has to be so rigid, and then this like weird boilerplate. It just seems like React. You can write something a million ways, and you can write like the messiest code on earth, and it'll still work because it's just JavaScript and it's just HTML. And so like I think React lends a lot to like, you can write really messy code and things can start working, and then you can refactor that code into better systems, you know, like pull state around and like state where you want it to be. And I think that it's really nice to learn that way.
Yeah, there was a lot of things about Angular. It does a lot for you, but you almost have to learn Angular's language to do it. It's like very specific, like you were saying, Josh. I mean, if you know JavaScript, you could learn React.
It's not really transferable. Whereas I would assume. I mean, we have Ken was a Vue developer. He never even seen React before he started at Autobooks, and all those skills were really transferable because I think he just had a lot of like good basic JavaScript knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, I read some of the Atomic Design. It was
Yeah, I think-
recommended to me by Josh. You sent it to me when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful as far as like organizing, thinking about things like structurally, because that's going to translate to like scalability and how transferable.
I had a question. When I do Bootstrap or Jinja, like Emmet abbreviations, I think that's what they're called. They're like, I love them, but I don't think I have the right setup on my VS Code. So like, for example, I find that I have to type out like a H2 tag, which I know maybe sounds like petty, right? But like, I don't know if there's like a VS Code extension where that could really, I guess, do all that with Java, because you're writing so many languages, right, in one place. I don't know if there's a good VS Code extension that can help me complete a form tag, real quick, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I believe you want to look for like the JSX one.
Oh, yeah?
There's got to be like a Bootstrap ASX extension.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
for sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I see one with 2 million downloads up here.
Oh, yeah? What's the... Yep.
It's called Bootstrap for snippets.
Also, I know that you have posted Wesbo's class tutorials, and I've used him as well. On his blog, he talks about what plugins he uses and everything, because like when he does his tutorials, so he's got some good insights into like plugins for making development a little bit easier.
Everyone go out and download Bracket Hair Colorizer. It'll change your life.
Yeah, I think we're gonna bring it up a solid 20 to 30 people from this meeting. So that's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was playing around with React the other day, and I'm just like, okay, second H2 tag in, and this is not great, but I need to find a plugin. So yeah. Merlin had a good question about, and this was directly to Josh, but so you don't need to know JS to learn React? That's what Merlin's asking? What's the correlation? Like, do you need to have a good JS basis to really be good at React?
I mean, I don't think everybody would say this for sure, but coming from somebody who is coding as a second career, somebody who went to a boot camp, and somebody who had to do a lot of self-learning beforehand on the job, I would say just jump into React, because you'll learn so much of React is just vanilla JavaScript, right?
You'll learn JavaScript as you go through React.
You learn so much JavaScript. You'll learn we learned so much about form HTML tags by writing JSX, right? You'll learn, however you want to style it. You'll learn about CSS, and you'll also have. It's just so much easier when you're stuck with React to Google it. Like, there's just billions of Stack Overflow specifically. Like, so many people right now are learning React that like the community for it is so great that I think that like is, even if you don't really know what you're doing and you're just like writing JavaScript in this app.jsx, even then when you're working with React, you have all the tools at your disposal that you can just reach out for whenever you want to learn the next thing, right? You can write a React app and never write use state at all. You can just write JavaScript functions and then attach them to your JSX and use React that way. Like, it can be as simple or complicated as you want it to be. And that's what I think the beauty of React is. And so I would say just like jump into it. Just download a React app and use that as a sandbox to learn about UI development, Because like honestly, I don't even remember how to do document select by ID and add event listener and all of that. Like that Never do that on the job. Unless I have to like build a weird plugin for a third-party provider, and I have to write it in vanilla JavaScript. And like if you're working at a React shop, the majority of the day you're writing in React, and you can lean on all of these tools and all of these render cycles to not like a lot of JavaScript. Like you don't even need to learn in React because it's doing all of the down manipulation for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was going through a similar tutorial, and one way he drove the point of like how React is, like why you should learn React, is that he compared like a task app, and in this case it was just a single task app, so it was just you weren't even populating the tasks. The tasks were hard coded, and you were just pressing the delete button that brought up a modal, and the React code, you can just tell visually, even if you knew nothing about coding, the React code was just more condensed, while the JavaScript code, it was like a lot of steps, just so much, query selectors and jQuery, things like that. So yeah. Let me see if we have another one.
Yeah, the virtual DOM does so much for you. Like it's a scary thing, and like you really don't need to understand what it is until like you learn a little bit of React. Like I built my entire like portfolio page, like hi John and Josh looking for a job in React, before I had any idea like what JavaScript was or CSS was or anything. I really always just use React as a playground to learn other things.
Nice. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Nicole, for preparing and executing this awesome presentation. This is like one of the first times we've done one of these events where I was, I feel like this Discord thing was nice. I was able to actually do the full code along with somebody, so it was really cool. I know I learned a ton. And if nobody else has anything, we'll close it for the night. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody who came. Super fun. We'll see you all.